Hey guys, I'm seeing some questions and I'm getting some direct messages myself about KBO process and whatnot. So I felt like this would probably be a good idea to toss this out to everybody once in a while. Obviously, I'm Chapadong here at dfsarmy.com, one of the senior contributors and editor of the articles that you guys see. And although our contributors and everybody are great, I think that a lot of us start to get a little bit overwhelmed. I'm never a professional player. I'm never the greatest guy in the world to talk to, but I can certainly tell you how to get off the ground and establish a process and be consistent. And the first thing that I'm going to tell you in terms of KBO is keep it simple, man. If you're not up in the middle of the night watching these lineups confirm and whatnot, then just first of all, throw some of your expectations out the window because you're going to have some holes in your lineup with players that swap in and out. But if you are taking it incredibly seriously, you need to start with a baseline. You need to start with some kind of a process that is repeatable. When I used to teach people how to play golf, first thing, I hated it when a new guy came to my driving range and had never swung a club before. He has no feel. He has no idea what he's doing right or wrong, and he expects me to fix him. And I can't do that when I'm working with nothing. We have to start working with something before we can work with, before we can start taking the next step. And in KBO, it's just a simple process. Let me show you the very basic, simplest process that I can imagine anybody doing, and just still generating competitive lineups because you're leaning on the writers and the staff and the coaches and whatnot to produce good projections, good plays, good stacks, whatever, and then you can ride those with the volatility that comes with baseball up and down. But over the course of time, you're going to, at the very least, lose very, very, very slowly. And in fact, you're going to grind a little bit and even have shots any given night at winning these tournaments and turning a decent profit. Here's the easiest way to do it. You run into KBO, you go into the research station. The first thing you're looking for is what are the main stacks? You can find those in the cheat sheets that I just passed to, but sometimes they're not up in time. You're already doing something else, and you just don't have the time to go waiting, for those cheat sheets to populate. But I would encourage you to definitely go through and look at them. All of this stuff here is great. If you've got the time and you're into digging, great. And you can certainly add this to your process as you go, as you learn, as you talk to the coaches about what they look at and what they're looking for. Certainly add these in. But I go straight to the stacks page, and the first thing that I'm looking for is who are the top projected stacks if I'm playing DraftKings. I'd look here, 60, 60, 61. So Sam would be in there, 60.7. So any of these others would be in there. And if I'm only putting in, say, 20 lineups, then I'm going to pick 3 stacks, 2 or 3 stacks. And I mean, you could pick 2 stacks and go 75% on one and 25% on another. You can go 30, 30, 30 across the board with 3 of them. But if you start taking 4, 5, and 6 stacks trying to cover all the bases in just 20 lineups, you're only getting 1 or 2 lineups of each. You're not allowing yourself to hit that stack and hit it hard. So I'm going to try and limit myself to 2 to 3 stacks. Now, if I wanted to, I could enter another 20 max tournament of the same buy-in level, and I could then expand to, say, 3 teams or 4 teams, maybe even 20% across 5 teams equally, whatever. But you're going to want to do the same thing night in and night out. It's like building a golf swing. You have to build a repeatable process, run it through a sample of, a decent enough sample to make sure that it's probably not just luck up or down, but you're probably getting the results you deserve, whether it's good results or bad results, but getting the results you deserve, so then you can start working on that process from there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look here, and actually I'm going to kick down here to the analysis page, and I'm going to look for ownership. If I look for the projected rank 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm not probably usually going down below the top 5th, 5 or 6 stack here. Even if the ownership is green and that leverage is good, I'm probably, 16, 17% is not that chalky, to be honest with you. It means 85% of the people aren't using this stack. You're fine there. Don't overthink it. Just 1, 2, 3. KIW, do, and NC tonight. Okay? So what I'm going to do from there is I may write those down, KIW, do, and NCD. And I'm going to run into the cheat sheets, double check for those really quick. I'm going to see if those 3 stacks are also mentioned by whoever's doing the sheets tonight. They may be, they may not be. That's totally up to you. But I see the sheet isn't filled in yet. So probably not a lot going on there. Do NCD and KIA instead of KIW. So look, I got 3 of his top 4. I've got both his 4-star ones, right? We just picked that up off of the same page. He might have picked it up off, it might have been somewhere else. And then you can read these notes and incorporate these in a little bit if you want. But if you're only doing 20 lineups, you probably can't afford to take flyers on some of these guys, even with 1 or 2 lineups. You need to get 6, 7 combinations of that stack. Have it hit, and then have the iterations around it that fill in the missing pieces. That's typically how you're going to see results. Your stack will get you through the money line, and then the iterations will take you deeper and deeper into the money. That's a lot of what you're looking for. So I can't take flyer here and flyer there. If I do, I need to run another 20 lineups, or another 20, or another 20. If I'm running, say, 3, 4, or 5 different 20 max contests, say dimes, and I'm on them early in the morning, and one fills, boom, I open up another one and reserve 20 spots. When another one opens, boom, I open them up, reserve another 20 spots. Well, then I can run 20, 40, 60, 80 lineups, whatever. And then I can really practice that way. Now, at that point, I'm not thinking about winning money, because on DraftKings, the 1,200-man GPP only pays $10 to the winner. If I run 80 lineups, that's what? That's 4 sets of 20, $2 a pop. That's $8. If I don't win, I'm not going to generate a profit hardly at all anyway, right? If I don't win one of the GPPs, so let's set our expectations realistically. This is an education. This is a training ground. Okay, if you want to build a better system, you got to start somewhere. You start educating yourself. You start tweaking a system, and then you test it in the bigger waters. Okay, that's at least what I would recommend doing. But let's say we have the same systems, the same stacks that match up here. Now we're going to take that to the next level, and we're going to go into the domination station. And once I get into the domination station, I'm going to open up MLB, DraftKings. I'm going to run this slate tonight. And once I open it up, what I might do, and you'll see that I probably already did this, what I might do is kick on either the hybrid score or the DFS Army points. I'm going to sort those to the top. Do hybrid score too. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start going position by position. This is like what we used to use the research station for in NBA. I'm going to take the top 1, 2 players maybe, and I'm going to adore them. I'm going to throw their projection up as high as the machine will let me without really messing with the machine too much. And then I'm going to boost these top rated guys. And I'm going to go through each position, and I'm going to do that. You can see these are multiple position eligible guys. But ideally, this is what I'm doing with these guys, okay, as I'm trying to get them in there. Now, what I've done, and I did this, you see some of the top ones, and I'll show you why in a minute. It's because of the batting order I messed with. But generally speaking, I've got the top 1 or 2 guys adored on every single one. I can come over here, and if I want to really spread out, I can set an exposure max to 50%, 60%, whatever. But whatever it is, do it the same tomorrow. Don't go changing it again tomorrow and say, well, I ran 50%. Tomorrow I'll run 80%. The next day I'll run 30%. No. Stop screwing with yourself, because that's what's causing you to not know where to fix things and what's going wrong. Set your randomization 10% or so. CG will tell you it's a top-heavy league. Therefore, there's not a lot of talent at the bottom, so you don't need a lot of randomization to get a bunch of different combinations. It's only a 10-team league. So set your randomization rather small. Go into browser or server mode, whichever you want. Server mode's a little bit faster. 3 unique players is what I typically do. If you want a tighter grouping of players, do 2 uniques. If you want a broader grouping of players, do 4. What's the advantages there? Tighter grouping of players is going to get you through your entire lineups, go through the money line, or they miss the money line kind of together. The more you spread out, the more you pick up that one weirdo or that 2 weirdos that is going to then maybe be right tonight and differentiate you across the board and really push you deep into the money line. So that's something to consider. Lower number of uniques, tighter core, it all moves together in a unit. But a broader group spreads you out more. You're going to have some lineups that maybe do really, really good, but you're going to have some lineups that do really, really bad. Okay? So just know what you're doing to yourself when you do it. Tournament mode separates. The optimal mode is, let's say I want to run somebody in 70% of my lineups, and I juice his projection all the way up to where I want to see him in 70% of lineups. In optimal mode, he's going to appear in the first 7 of my 10 lineups. In tournament mode, he might not appear in all of those top 7. He might be in, say, the top 3, and then there might be another 1 or 2 in there, and then he might come in again for a lineup or 2, and then he won't, and then he'll be in the 9th or the 10th lineup. So it spreads those players out a little bit better. It gets you a little bit better mix when you're doing that MME style building or whatnot. The other thing that I would recommend doing, so set the number of lineups that you want. Take out the players that you don't want to see. I've run stacks of just the 3, 4, 5, and 6 hitters, or the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or the 2, 3, 4, 5, or the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or the 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever it is. Set your idea. Generally, I like to stay in the heart of the order. Where do the best hitters on your team hit? Typically in the middle to the top of the order. So I pretty much unchecked 7, 8, 9 most nights. I understand 7, 8, 9 gets you unique stacks and gets you, sometimes lower ownership, and that's great. That's fine. But for me, my consistent move is to stick into the top, say, 5 batters. I may include the 6th guy, and I honestly, my tip to you, I've been taking away the leadoff batter in a lot of cases. Why? Because his ISO sucks and they don't hit for a lot of power. This is a home run league, man. It's a home run league. And so if a guy doesn't have a lot of home run potential, and sometimes the 8-hitter does, but if a guy doesn't have home run potential, I don't necessarily want him. So the middle of the order is where I typically live, and that's just the way I'm doing things, okay? And then I click optimize, and when I come down here, I use the controlled stacks, and I'll set up, say, a 3-man stack. I don't double stack. I just let the machine do it. Who did I say? KIW. Do an NCD, right? And let's say you wanted to put 50 on these guys as the top stack and 25 here and 25 here. That's fine. You want to go, 33 across the board? Do that. Your call. Your lineups. I've done 30 here, and 40 here. Whatever. But when I open up all these players, you can see there's only 4 boxes checked. There's only 4 players showing up, and I'm getting 3 of them. So my stacks are going to be pretty much the same dudes with a little bit of variation due to randomness in the projections or 3 unique players or whatnot forcing itself in. If I put an exposure max on a player, that would further cap those stacks and force it to go digging elsewhere. But again, put too many restrictions on yourself with the optimizer, you're going to get a shortage of lineups. So you want to let the thing run pretty wide open. You want to rely a little bit on these projections, but you want to set it up to throw you what you want to see, which is maybe the teams you want to see, portions of the order you want to see, maybe specific players that you want to see more of, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But again, do the same thing every night. And once I'm done and I run those stacks, I go through and I verify that I'm getting the stacks of the teams that I want. When I limit it to just 3 lineups on, or 3 hitters on one side, then what I actually enjoy doing is going through and making sure that the other side has a stack to it too. See, like this could be the NCD stack, right? 3, 4, 5, 4 up here, 5 here, right? But look, it also picked up a do stack of 3. And that's the 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. So I got 3, 4, 5 of KIW or NCD and 3, 4, 5 of do. That's a pretty loaded stack, right? Come down a little bit more. There's KIA for 2. I didn't have them as one of the teams. I like to say SK one-off. I've got NCD, NCD, NCD again, and then some one-offs with the little mini stack. That's fine. It's variety. It varies. Notice I'm not talking about pitchers. I picked this up from CG. No offense to our pitching article. If you're playing cash games, you're going to want these pitchers, but in tournaments, if you're really spreading out, you don't need to worry too much about pitchers. You're going to have some, you're not going to have some, whatever. But looking here, and if you're the type that wants to really pay attention to them, go for it. But here's a Sam mini stack, do mini stack, NCD, 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 3 stack. So that's a 3-2-2. So I've got a 3-2-2, I've got a 3 whatever, like a 3-2-1-1-1-1-1, and I've got a 3x3, right? So if I'm happy with those, and not, generally speaking, all the way down here, it's still doing the same thing, do, with what? One-offs down here, do, NCD, 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 so another 3x3. See, it's still doing the same things. It's mixing things up. It's matching things up. It takes the guesswork out of my mind. And I just am willing to live with these results. Click download, throw it into your contest on DraftKings and rock and roll. This is just a very, very easy way to do any of this. It's a basic system that sets you up doing the same thing night in and night out. And then from there, you can see, am I picking the right stacks? If not, then maybe instead of the one, top 3 stacks in the research station, you pick the 2, 3, 4, or the 3, 4, 5, or whatever. Or maybe you pick the top 2 stacks and then pick one on your own and run it up against the worst pitcher of the slate, or whatever it is that you're wanting to do. Or, I like these guys at home, so I always run NCD at home. Then the number 1 stack was due and the number 2 stack was KTW tonight, and then I run NCD at home. Fine. Whatever it is you do it the same. Keep your pattern the same. Again, I cite Ben Jamin an awful lot. He's one of the creators with CG of the research stations. And the idea that Ben had that was so brilliant years ago was I run Cleveland left-handers at home. I stack them. They may come up 2, 4, 7 in the lineup, whatever, but I stack them. All the Cleveland lefties at home. And that's what he did all year long. And did he have a lot of losing nights? Yes, of course. But did he have some winning nights? Yes, of course. And those winning nights in tournaments, in multi-entry tournaments, far outweighed the losing nights when it came to the money. It's like betting a long shot in a horse race. You bet the 20-1, you're going to lose 19 times out of 20. You're just hoping that the one time that you win, it makes up for all those losses. And in MME, all you have to do is win one. Every so often, get deep in the money, and you're going to be fine. Aggravating? Yes. But that's the nature of the beast. That's what you're playing these things for. You're not typically going to grind them steady Eddie. What you're going to do is you're going to generally get some money back, if not the vast majority of your money back. You may even grind a small profit, but that's not what you're playing them for. That just keeps your bankroll the same so that you can continue to play these things almost indefinitely. What you're really gunning for is that night when a few of these lineups really come together and get deep into the money, and that's what turns your ROI positive for you in a big, big way. Okay? That's the type of stuff that we want to be talking about inside DFS Army, so ask us questions. This is what we'll do. We'll put together little videos or talk to you in Slack or whatever the case may be. Show you what it is that we're doing. Show you what it is that's working. I'm profitable for KBO this year. I haven't been up in the middle of the night one time. I haven't given a rat's ass about confirmed lineups. I've just been watching the cheat sheets and running the stacks that I choose based off of the research station and the top 3 stacks or so every single night. Ownership be damned. I'm not all that concerned about it. I'm not all that concerned about the projections. I'm not all that concerned about a lot of this other stuff. It sounds overly simplistic and it may piss you off, that you came here to learn. Well, here's what I've learned in 5 years of being here. We used to have to do all of this work by hand. Used to do all of this work all by ourselves. You know what else used to happen? You used to have to use your little finger and spin the little dial on a telephone to make a phone call too. Guess what? These days you open up your cell phone, you hit a button for a speed dial, and you're off and running. Let technology do the heavy lifting for you. Let the projections work for you. Let our coaches work for you. Take their opinions, take their work, and either expand on it if you've got the time or just use it. I'm to the point now, I just use it. I just set these guys up and just let them go. I'm stacking certain teams. I'm picking the stacks. I'm picking my patterns that I'm focused on, top 3 ranked teams on the night, projection-wise, whatever, and I'm stacking those every single night. And yeah, some nights I lose money, but some nights it works. I've been second or third in a couple of these GPPs already, and I haven't woken up in the middle of the night for a confirmed lineup yet. You just don't need to do it. Baseball is random. Very, very random. Stick with the exact same process night in and night out, and let the randomness just kind of flow through you with its good times and its bad times. Don't get too frustrated. Play beneath your bankroll so that you can ride the variance out as long as you need to, and watch. You'll sleep better. You'll stress less. You probably won't kick the dog as often. And you'll wake up to sometimes a bankroll that just grinds its way up, and that's what we're really all after. And if that's the case, then you're in the right place. Take care, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
You got it, Chuck. You got it.